Welcome back, sober friends. If you're not sober, welcome to the channel. I'm Wayne, and I'm an alcoholic. If you can't tell, we are celebrating the holidays. And what a perfect time than to stop beating yourself up about the things you can't change and start changing the things you can. Today's daily reflection for December 9th, 2020, love with no price tag. Let's go. All right, let's get into this. Love with no price tag. When the 12th step is seen in its full implication, it is really talking about the kind of love that has no price tag on it. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 106. In order for me to start working the 12th step, I had to work on sincerity, honesty, and to learn to act with humility. Carrying the message is a gift of myself, no matter how many years of sobriety I may have accumulated. My dreams can become reality. I solidify my sobriety by sharing what I have received so freely. As I look back to the time when I began my recovery, there was already a seed of hope that I could help another drunk pull himself out of his alcoholic mirror. My wish to help another drunk is the key to my spiritual health. But I never forget that God acts through me. I am only His instrument. Even if another person is not ready, there is success because my effort in His behalf has helped me to remain sober and to become stronger. To act, to never grow weary in my 12-step work is the key. If I am capable of laughing today, let me not forget those when I cried. God reminds me that I can feel compassion. Vada, buddy. Are you telling me that it's okay if somebody fails at the hands of you trying to help them get sober? Well, why didn't somebody tell me that a long time ago? I'm so glad that I read today's daily reflection because it actually gives me time to reflect. What a concept. How you like the studio? All right, so I actually spoke to a few people about this today because I was kind of bothered about two that I sponsored along my way. And if people aren't quite sure how sponsor and sponsee, all that is meant, the person who needs help and the person who wants to give it. You know, that's really what it is in a nutshell, folks. So two people that I was going to try to pass my experience, strength, and hope on to. You know, they were super excited at first. And, you know, I can remember the very first one, which I'll tell you about briefly, is he was real excited. Him and I were in the same, I guess you could call it group counseling session type thing. And that was a mandate by the Army also. I went through a few of those. And he was super excited because I had told him, you know, how I have, you know, been able to take from other folks and my sponsor and take their advices and take their, you know, their experiences with their sobriety and with their alcoholism, apply it to my life and use the 12 steps also and work the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous in order to achieve my sobriety and start to live in recovery and live in sobriety. And they were super excited. And they told me, yes, I want you to sponsor me. I want you to help me to get sober. And I said, fine, you have to do what I say do. And of course, if it's illegal, unethical, or immoral, don't ever follow that path of instruction because that's garbage. So he got excited. He did what I asked him to do as far as call me every day, read the first 163 pages of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, prepare, you know, some things that you are working on in your life, and on and on and on and on. And firstly, they had to admit that they were powerless over alcohol and that their life had become unmanageable, because that is step one, people. And so he did it. And within about probably a week and a half, 2 weeks, stumbled in this one is called Army Substance Abuse, but stumbled into this counseling session smelling like the bottom of a vodka bottle and oozing out other ethanols and tequilas, and it was just disgusting. He sat right next to me. He's like, "Hey, what's up, bro? So glad you're helping me." And I swear that my eyes started watering with the amount of alcohol that's coming out of this dude. Now, don't get that twisted. I'm not judging him, because I definitely sat in that seat before. But I was disappointed, and I was disappointed with myself of how did I fail this dude? And what can I do to help him? I mean, should I tell somebody what's going on? Because, you know, he smells like a bar, and this is probably not the right place to smell like a bar. And so I thought of all the ways to rescue him and everything. I also at the same time kept rambling around my head. How did I fail? I mean, I did what my sponsor did for me, and I did what the big book says to do, and I did all these things that I thought were correct, and he still went out and drank anyway. You know, rule number one, folks, and this is kind of a sidebar: if you don't want to get drunk, don't have the first drink. And I know that sounds monstrously simpler than it is, because I've also sat in those shoes, and I've also been at the bottom of that bottle, you know? But seriously, if you don't want to get drunk, don't pick up the first drink. If you don't want the problems you had yesterday, don't pick up the first drink. Really, that's what it comes down to. In order for me to start working on the 12th step, I had to work on sincerity, honesty, and learn to act with humility. For the longest time when I was drinking, people, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday, is I was nothing of honest with anybody, and my how you doings were pretty insincere and really meant nothing when I said them. I just said them as a casual greeting in order to get a quick discussion out of the way and move on with the rest of my day. In order for me to be able to deliver this message to the alcoholic who still suffers, I have to be brutally honest with myself on a normal basis, and I have to be able to look in the mirror and say, yes, you jacked this up, or yes, you said the wrong things during this period of time, or yes, you offered up advice where it wasn't necessary, and potentially, you know, someone might take that. All these things I have to be honest about, and I have to be honest if I'm bullshitting or not, because nobody can spot a bullshitter like a bullshitter, right? And then the sincerity part, folks, the sincerity part comes in, you know, when I take the time, and this sounds stupid, but when I take the time to dress up my studio back here with this paper, with this Christmas paper, and with what I have in order to deliver something that I think is helpful for you, that is my sincerity. Otherwise, I flat out wouldn't give a crap, and I would flat out, I wouldn't even read the daily reflections. I would just stare at the pages, read the words, and shoot them out to you and see what happens. That would be a huge mistake, I think, in order to do this right for you, because that's what this is for. And I don't know, there's so many things, and if I don't know how to find humility as well, you know, and that comes along with admitting my faults, really I'm no better than the next person who's just regurgitating what they saw on another YouTube channel or on TV. For me, that's what it boils down to. And I know I say that a lot, but really, it is. There is awesome stuff inside of today's Daily Reflections, and I urge you, if you haven't taken a look at it, Alcoholics Anonymous or not, take a look at it. And I'm guaranteeing that you can find something suitable for your daily life inside of this little book. And really, it's chock full of knowledge. Knowledge written by alcoholics. That's the insane part about it. No, insane is what I was doing when I was an active alcoholic. That was insane. And I asked to be restored to sanity. And guess what, folks? Yeah, this is it. The half has helped me to remain sober. I heard that today 3 times. Sorry, I'm going to repeat that. I heard that today 3 times. 3. That at least I am sober. And because I dropped this on Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those. And the most common response that I got back from today's daily reflection is, at least you stayed sober, with my 2 failed sponsees. Now, one ultimately did come back around, and he ultimately did and is living in recovery. And that is a success in itself. And that's what that means for me. And that is also what the people on those media platforms, that is verbatim what they were saying. If you plant the seed now, it will be in somebody's mind later on when they are down and they're out, and when they are hitting their bottom, or when they can't find that solution, and they say, wow, I remember when Wayne was trying to help me and Wayne asked me to do this and that. And that's not my ego talking, folks. That's just an example. And perhaps they may find their way. And, not everybody wants to get sober. That's perfectly fine. If you're a normal drinker and you don't want to stop drinking, nobody's asking you to. But if you're an alcoholic like me, and it's pretty much the center factor of life and death, perhaps this is for you. That's all I got on that part. I began my recovery. There was already a seed of hope that I could help another drunk pull himself out of the alcoholic mirror, out of his mirror or her mirror or whatever. I did. When I got sober, I was like, damn, I want to give this to somebody else. I want somebody else to be as excited about it as I am, that I don't have to drink today. And that is a freaking miracle for me. And I was ready to save the planet. And then when I realized I'm just a man and that I have no superpowers, regardless of the cape that I think I wear on my back, well, that was a truly humbling experience, folks. And when those two did not make it on me, when I was their sponsor, I was so doubtful about sponsoring another person. I'm going to tell you straight up, I didn't want anyone to ask me to sponsor them at all. Don't even look at me when they say, is there anybody available to be a sponsor? Don't look my way, because I don't want to do it. I don't want another failure on my back. I went through combat, folks, and I'm not going to church on that too much, but I went through combat and there were lives lost. Don't give me another platoon. I'm not going to lose any more lives. Same concept that I was carrying around. I had to come to grips with that, and I had to come to grips with the fact that maybe I needed to work on myself, my honesty, sincerity, and my humility, or perhaps I needed to be thick-skinned when it came to somebody not making it, because not everybody will. And that's the truth of it all. And so guess what, folks? The love that I have for my sponsees, 0 price tag. 0. The love that I have for folks in the fellowship, the love that I have for you, there is no price tag on it whatsoever. Just like my family, no price tag. And that to me, folks, is my higher power saying, you're ready to sponsor. Weird. That's food for thought, folks. I'm one sober to another. And guess what? I'm going to see you in the next one. Have a good day.